In this episode of Real Estate AI Flash, I speak with Mike Gordon Jr., a seasoned realtor from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Mike shares the impact of AI on the real estate industry, sharing personal experiences and insights on how AI tools are enhancing his efficiency, marketing, and client engagement. Tune in. Are you a real estate agent eager to unlock the power of AI to boost your productivity and scale your business? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the weekly podcast that takes AI from a buzzword to a business tool, making it approachable and actionable for agents like you. I'm your host, Rajeev Sajja, and each week I interview agents from across the country who are using AI to transform their careers. Join us on this journey to become an AI skilled agent and take your real estate career to the next level. Now let's get to this episode. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate AI Flash. And today I'm joined by Mike Gordon Jr. from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Mike, and looking forward to diving in about all things AI with you.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I'm prepped as best as I can be. By prepped, I mean I'm just doing it off the cuff. But
there you go. That's it. That's the best prep there is, you know. So for the listening audience, I'd love for them to kind of get to know Mike a little bit, your journey in real estate. How did you get, I know you've been 9 years in. So how did you get into real estate?
I am a second generation realtor, despite my best efforts. My dad's been a realtor for 37 years. So same name. I'm not sure if that's a curse or a blessing, but tends, paths run parallel to each other. So he was 37 years in the business right before I was born. So, I wore a lot of hats before this, and I finally said, you know what? I think I'll get myself into real estate. So here I am with Berkshire Hathaway 9 years later, and it's been a thrill. My stepmom and stepsister are also realtors, so we're on the same team. It is a family full of real estate. So you can probably imagine what our dinner conversations are like.
Wow. It's interesting. I think a lot of the successful realtors, I mean, again, obviously our podcast guests are a small subset of the overall population, but there's a lot of people that take on real estate as a result of what their parents have done, right?
Oh,
and there's
heavily influenced.
Right. Heavily influenced. I can definitely imagine the dinner conversations, all things real estate, NAR settlement, the whole thing, right, Mike?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'd love for you to share, what was your first interaction or aha moment with AI that you felt like, you know what, this has potential, I need to embrace it. What was that for you?
Okay, I can definitely attone to that. I think as my career progressed and I've been making changes to better myself, I went to Explosion, not this year, but the previous year. And the big thing was just this. It was not just an event. It was a big aha moment of talking about AI and how to use tech and how you should be changing your game to stay ahead of the curve, how video, social, online presence is really key to building your business. And, we got into ChatGPT, and that was the tip of my iceberg diving in. I've always kind of been a techie guy. I've always been involved in the tech world. And that was really my aha moment. And I kind of came back. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my head into all this and see how I can make myself progress, be better, do better for my clients.
Yeah, for sure. One of our previous guests, Jenna Good, whom you know really well.
I've never met her before in my life.
Yeah, you're disowning her for sure. So
never.
Yeah. No, so Jenna, when she was on our podcast, she told me, Rajeev, you have to talk to Mike because Mike's one of our forward thinking in our office, leveraging AI. So that's how you've been on my list to kind of obviously get on the pod. Interesting you mentioned, there's been very few, I would say, revolutionary technologies, Mike, in our lifetime, right? I mean, the internet, you could say, was revolutionary. It helps us enable business, smartphones, and now AI. I mean, to your point from Explosion, the conference you attended, was it like 2 years ago? Like not this year, but last year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is like AI doesn't necessarily shift your game. It lifts your game to a whole nother planet, right? I mean, if you start to embrace it. And we're
100%. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's your technological assistant. Hey, instead of, can I give you a great example of this? I mean, I don't want to get you off course of what you're talking about.
No, all good.
But I have a perfect example of this. I was looking through one of my local development directories, the one I live in, and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of names on here, and I don't feel like extrapolating all this information manually. I just popped into ChatGPT. I mean, mind you, it took a couple dry runs to tell it what to do, but it like just took 3, 4 pages of PDF and put them into an Excel spreadsheet by name, address, phone number, and email. Because think how much time that would have taken me personally.
Yeah.
Time I probably don't have, but it's just a beautiful asset to use.
Yeah, and AI, you're only limited by your imagination with AI.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and I find as I interview guests like yourself and be on this journey to become a power user of AI or myself, I find like there's a awareness deficit of in terms of what people think is possible and what is actually possible with AI today.
absolutely.
Right? I mean, you mentioned the PDF. It's a great example. Recently, not too long ago, I had to download all our listings from a certain MLS,
Yeah,
and it was like they would not give us a CSV, and they only gave you PDFs of each listing. And I mean, it's like 120-page PDF. I had to distill down to like just one line in a Google Sheet. And if you didn't have an AI first mindset, can AI help me with this? Is a question I always ask myself now with anything I'm doing. And it's a great example of what you just shared. So let's kind of dive into specific things you are seeing AI benefit you, Mike. Let's start with categories. I mean, what are some areas that you feel like you've embraced and you feel it's giving me a benefit, time and money, or combination thereof?
absolutely. Organizational. I mean, like I just mentioned, extrapolating information, putting them onto spreadsheets. I mean, just my socials. My socials have become so much more streamlined. As everyone knows, because everyone does it now, our listing descriptions are pretty much written by AI now. I mean, mind you, everybody go in there, change them a little bit. We don't we don't need them writing all of it for us.
Yeah.
Don't lose the skill of writing. But just so many things. My video editing, just for our podcast, our reels, I'm using Opus clips.
Yeah.
So we'll film our long form here in our nice little studio,
Yeah.
and I plug it in there. It gives me reels. I can go in there and edit those. It's a beautiful thing. You and I talked about Descript before, which
Yeah.
isn't for everyone. But if you're filming long video, you plug it in Descript. It'll take the audio, condense it, EQs it for you, and it really just gives you a transcript, which you can edit your own video. So you're not in there splicing and cutting, and it's an amazing concept. Captions is a great one I like to use. If it's just you and you just don't want to put your face on there, I mean, captions will even make an AI version of you, so you don't have to sit in front of your camera. How crazy is that?
I think, one of the things I'm finding now with, obviously, you shared some really great tools like Opus Pro, Descript. And what I love about Descript, and there's probably multiple tools that do it, but Descript does it really well, is removing the ums and the ahs from
Yeah.
conversation. Click of a button and boom, it's gone, right?
If you want a reality check, use Descript, plug in your video, and look at how many ums, ahs, and
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're me, yada yada yada. I'm sorry, I'm a Seinfeld fan, and it somehow
I
it's
was
great.
just going to say, yada, yada, yada is a great Seinfeld episode. But, I'm a big Seinfeld fan as well. So, and probably our listening audience is, many of them. So it's interesting. I mean, you are obviously big into video. You have and there is reasons for every agent to be in video because video is 80% of the internet in terms of
Yep,
content, right?
absolutely.
Doing it well, etc. There's some tools that you could subscribe to. Clearly, the ones that we're mentioning are paid for tools. So you need to just sort of pick your area and really specialize in it. Captions is a great example. I think it's like $65 if you paid for a year. And they are throwing in like new features. And Captions is one of the top 5 tools I recommend for agents as well. And Opus is definitely in that category. So video, you're like sort of crushing video. And for me, though, as you're a podcaster as well, and I'm in my podcast, I would not be able to do the things I need to do without having AI with me. You just can't.
I couldn't imagine doing this 3 years ago. Just how the times have changed and
100%.
how much more efficient things have become.
Yeah.
And things I didn't know. I mean, I ran a bunch of websites 12 years ago, and I was using the big chunky cameras. I was going there, I was editing stuff, having no clue what I'm doing. And now I'm doing it on my cell phone now, and I can do stuff in a tenth of the time, a 20th of the time. I mean, exponentially more efficient and faster than I could before, and it's absolutely cool. and
Yeah,
amazing.
for sure. And you know what, the crazy part is, this is the worst AI we'll ever use.
Yeah,
It's only going to get better, so we're still
right.
early in the journey. I think we're still in the top of the first inning for a football
Oh,
analogy.
absolutely. I think people
Baseball
are
analogy.
way too afraid of it too. They have to embrace the change. Make your life easier, not more difficult. Work
Yeah.
harder, not smarter.
And I always tell agents that find the things that you're not scared of, but it's a major time suck, and therefore you're not doing it well, or you need to do it, but you don't like to do it. Find a task like that. And to your point, you had a first aha moment, and you built a series of aha moments with other AI tools, and that's really where I think most agents that are listening to our podcast. I mean, we got 15,000 listeners on our streaming platforms for our shows. So as audience grows, they're leveraging and becoming comfortable with AI, and I think that's really the message you're sharing. So organizationally processing data, putting your own personality into listing descriptions, you touched on it. I even built a custom GPT. We'll add it in the show notes. There's a custom GPT specific for listing descriptions that you could use, that knows fair housing and doing all of those things, so you can get you to the 1 yard line when you start on listing descriptions. So what else are you using AI for? Obviously, video is a big category. Social media. Talk a little bit about social media, non-video. Anything else you're using AI for?
So I held a big event, and I live in a German style village. So I threw our first Oktoberfest there. It was really successful. It was really
Nice.
cool. It was like it's my little prize trophy of hard work. But I'm making and creating posts for it, and I use ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, write me a description for this for for Facebook. I always specify Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So, and I'm like, can you? And I have a mini Schnauzer. I'm like, well, that's a fitting dog for an Oktoberfest. I'm like, would you create me a mini Schnauzer in an Oktoberfest theme? So it just pops up a picture right there, and people are like, oh my gosh, that looked like Barney. I'm like, it. Sure, thank you, but you can really just have it crank out ideas for posts. It can
Yeah.
create the post for you. I mean, if you're right, right, we always have to be creating something new. I heard in social media, your circle should never be closed. So if you want to do that, AI can create an image for you, give you ideas, stick your face on there, and just put up a post with a picture, because
Yeah.
nobody wants to read just words anymore. They need some sort of interaction.
100%. Engagement is key on anything social, right?
Absolutely. And I
And
love statistics too, right? Here's things you need. You need a face in the photo. You can't just be like a background. I mean, if I just lean out of the picture, nobody cares. But my face is there.
yeah,
Your engagement goes up so much, so
100%.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And most agents probably are using the free version of ChatGPT if that's their AI tool. But eventually, as you start to look at your type of work you do, I do stuff with listings, I do stuff with marketing, I do stuff with transactions, I do stuff with data. You eventually will start to gravitate to a point where you might get the paid version. It's a steal of the century,
I
$20.
use the paid version as well.
Yeah. And beyond the model being better, and you now have Search GPT as of Halloween. I mean, that was a major treat that came up, where you can actually search the web for live stuff. So it's almost like a Google search. And you can build your own GPTs. For me, that's the biggest one.
I know you love building GPTs. It's totally up your thing. Like, and I have my subcategories, which I enjoy. But like, there's just the paid version. I love that I never have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I love seeing memory updated, and it knows who I am. It knows what I'm about to type in. It knows, it gives you the options. Do you want this, or how do you prefer things?
Yeah.
And it really just kind of like hones in on who you are and helps be a better version of you with a little
100%.
butt tap from ChatGPT.
Yeah, for sure. And I think over time, you have to realize that AI is your affordable leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Affordable. AI is so affordable now, and it's only going to get cheaper. But you got to pick the
What's
right
it,
tool.
20 some dollars a month, right? 20.
Yeah, $20 a month, and then caption. If you buy it annually, it's like $8, $6, $7. So I've even done the math. Like for under $100 a month, you could have AI become your transformative affordable leverage if you know how to use it effectively. and embrace it slowly. But start small. You can start with the free version, get comfortable, and you'll know the limitations, and then you'll upgrade. So great stuff. So anything else, Mike, that you start to, outside of what we talked about? We talked about organizationals, we talked about video, social media. Anything else you're playing with that?
I mean, honestly, so my in-house lender, Mark Newcomb, I like to do a lot of mailings. I like to do handwritten notes.
Nice.
I love that. It's a thing I picked up from Ninja a couple of years ago, but it's really something I try to do at least twice a day, 10 times a week. And so anyways, I said, Mark, I'm using our QR code here. I use flow code because I love analytics.
Yeah.
And I have them all individually labeled for what mailing I'm doing. And so I said, Mark, can you have our design team, create a postcard for us with a big QR code with fall leaves in the back? Not to knock them, but they sent it to me like, I don't want that. I'm like, you know what? Let me hop in ChatGPT. I uploaded the image they sent to me. I said, can you redesign this for me? And I kind of described how I wanted this fall setting behind the QR code. And it literally just nailed it. It literally nailed it. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, tell your design team to make that into this postcard. Because it took them 2 weeks and it took me 20 seconds.
100%. Great stuff. And I think you'll see stuff like, and we already have it now with Canva. Canva has Magic Studio AI.
It does.
So AI is coming closer to us in the tools we use, not just ChatGPT. So it's a great analogy. I think time saver. And you sort of embraced that AI first mindset that I alluded to earlier. Mm-hmm. When you got something, you say, can AI help me with this? And invariably it did.
Yeah.
So great analogy. So
Magic Studio with Canva is very good too as well. I mean,
it's great. It's
if
great.
I can use both those simultaneously just to kind of get to that 1 yard line and then get me into the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, I've even done to a point where now the weather's changing. We're in November, this is 2-year anniversary of ChatGPT end of this month. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think we've seen the end of what they're going to release with CertGPT. Video is coming. Sora has been being tested for over a year now, so it's coming. So
that part's kind of crazy and exciting to me. Because, I mean, with captions like we discussed, you can make an AI version of yourself to do video now, which is kind of crazy. And just think how that's going to progress and change.
Yeah, no, I think over time, as long as you're authentic and it's you vet the data, you vet all the output, it's just like an assistant doing your work. It's just that assistant now is AI. Right?
100%.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was just concurring. I concur, Doctor.
So as we wind down our podcast, I'd love you've been in real estate for 9 years, so you have the luxury to look back and kind of say, if you were starting your real estate journey today, or agents listening to this podcast are saying, what advice would you give your younger self that agents could benefit from in the listening audience? What would that be for you?
I think one of the biggest hurdles starting off in real estate is finding your direction, finding your systems. I mean, I'm everywhere. I like my shiny objects, and I can get distracted easily. But I think instilling systems, schedules, finding things that you are good at, excel at, are what you need to stick to. And I think using AI can really help you, build your basis. Hey, I'm trying to make a database here. Would you yank some data from here? Or here's a list of people. Would you please organize this for me? Right? It'll help with your CRM. It will help with your databases, mailings. Build yourself a schedule.
Yeah.
Use AI to, hey, what are some trending topics that are going on? It could just really just give you the foothold if you don't know where your foot's going.
Yeah.
Right? It's really a basic ground step or as advanced as you want it to be. It could be the hand you're holding trying to find your shepherd in the dark, if you will.
Yeah. And I think you make a very good point. I think the analogy you have is, or the experience you're sharing is, excel, do the things you love doing and leave the rest to AI. I tell people that the human interaction will never go away in real estate. Mm-hmm. Humans are the ones you do business with. Or if you could offload all of the things that you need to do to get to add value to your clients, and you have more time on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so I have a saying that's sort of become like a saying in almost all my podcasts, which says automate the ordinary so you can personalize the extraordinary, right? Which is your
And
client relationship.
you're going to have so much more time. 9 years in, Michael has so much, I probably had time back then, but I was wasting that time.
Yeah.
I have time now because I've become efficient at doing the things I do and offloading the things I don't. So, while you're young, get it while you can, burn the midnight oil, do all the things.
That'd be great.
Because especially the AI, I dove right in. I was like, I haven't done video editing, and I moved from California like 2015. So it's been almost 10 years since I've done it, and I hop back in like I can figure this out.
Yeah,
the internet's a great thing.
100%. So final question is, obviously we're on a podcast, but I'd love to know, is there a book or a podcast that has deeply influenced you in your journey? Is there anything that you could share with the audience?
Sure can. I really enjoyed the 12-week year because I think the issue is especially in real estate, we're looking at numbers, right? How much did I make this year? How many homes did I sell? What is my volume? And I think we kind of stretch that out too far. And with the 12-week year, they talk about quarters, or take whatever time span you want. And you just give yourself segments. Here I did this and I did this. Why make the 12 months instead of 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Right? Just think of what you're doing currently and how do I repeat that? How do I do that better? How do I capitalize on my successes here instead of looking at a whole year? Because you're never going to remember the great things and the negative things you did there. So I think at the end of a cycle or a quarter, you just look and say, what am I doing here that's working? And go over those notes at the end of the day or the end of the year or the end of the quarter, whatever time frame works for you. Find your year and pick out your pros and cons and keep doing it. The pros, not the cons.
Yeah. Great suggestion. That's come up multiple times in conversations I've had with the 12-week year. So, Mike, thank you for joining the podcast. This has been fun. Our listening audience has got a ton of it, and continued success in Lancaster County and the adjacent counties. And I'm sure we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you, Rajeev. Have a great day.
You made it to the end. Nice. My goal with this podcast is to elevate your AI skills every week. If you found value in the show, your goal is to follow, share with a fellow agent, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and leave us a review, as it helps us reach more agents like you.